The next in our series of marketing techniques that should be used is a feature sheet, and this is hugely important. It's actually one of the most important things that you should do on any listing, and the beautiful part about it is it doesn't cost a thing. Very, very few listings have a feature sheet. So what is a feature sheet? When I take a listing, I go through the house room by room with the seller, and I take extensive notes and ask questions, take pictures, those types of things. Number one, it helps me learn about the house, but I take all of those notes that we'd taken an hour or two, and I turn it into what's called a feature sheet. So the feature sheet is room by room some of the features that you want to be able to point out to a buyer. So like I said, number one, it helps me learn about the house, and that's what I'm going to use when I'm walking a buyer through. Most buyers, they remember a general feel about a house. They don't remember any of the specifics. So they might remember that it was a nice dining room, but they don't remember that it had crown molding, it had hardwood floors, it had recessed lighting, wainscoting, those types of things. So I compare it to when people buy cars, because people buy cars much more often than they buy houses. If you just see a car on the side of the road, and you see, oh, it's a nice car, they're asking $40,000, maybe I'll give them $35,000 for it. But if you go to a dealership and somebody is pointing out all the features and upgrades on that car, you'll pay more for that car. Now, you haven't changed, the car hasn't changed, the only thing that's changed is the information that you were given about it. And you have to do that in real estate as well. So having a sheet where the agent has learned about the house, put it all on a sheet, and then that's the thing that you're enforcing to the buyer. You're building the value with the buyer as you go through the home, and you're pointing out all these features that they're just not getting in other houses. So in practice, one of the ways that this can work, I keep a list, I call them my success stories. They're listings I was able to sell that other agents were not, and I try and keep notes on why it was. And the one that sticks out the most to me that's related to a feature sheet is there was a listing and it was on the market for $969,000. It had been on for 6 months, no offers. When it came off the market, they interviewed 5 companies, me and 4 others. Every other agent said you have to reduce the price. You have to go to $929 or $899, whatever it was. We were the only ones we looked at and we said, you know, this house is worth it. It just wasn't marketed properly. So we raised the price to $988 and we had an accepted offer at $970 within a week. Now, sometimes you just catch lightning in a bottle. That happens to everyone. But the reason I mention it here is I found out a couple of weeks into the deal that that buyer had been in the house before. And so I asked him, I said, you know, to be honest, why did you decide to buy it now at $970 when realistically 2 months ago you could have bought it at $925? And it was that feature sheet. His exact words were, I didn't realize the house had all that stuff. So, you know, especially around $1 million buyer, you know, it's really not the price, it's the value that matters to them. So something like a feature sheet is something that costs nothing but time and knowledge about the house for you to be able to convey it to a buyer and convince them why they need to pay more for your house. So that's something that should be done on your listing and every other one.